Hello, everyone. Welcome to the NFL Week 17 recap and NFL Week 18 preview episode of Stacking the Box. Iain MacMillan here, Sterling Holmes. Credit to me for being on this morning because I did not sleep last night after the Falcons' heartbreaking loss to the Washington Commanders to effectively eliminate the Falcons from the NFL playoffs. Sterling, you did watch the game last night. You did text me support. I don't know if I accepted that support from a Chiefs fan, but you did at least text me, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, credit to me for saying, hey, Iain, I believe in you. I'm rooting for you. I have your back. I hope your team wins. Shockingly, I will never get that support from you. Weird. Sorry I care about my boys. But credit to me for having the stones to, have your back.
Yeah, but does it really mean anything coming from a Chiefs fan? I don't know. I guess I can just start by just kind of giving my thoughts about the game, and then that'll be it for the Falcons, and then we don't have to talk about the Falcons anymore because the Falcons aren't making the playoffs. It does suck that all week I need to kind of have the thought in the back of my mind that like if the Saints do beat the Buccaneers, we can get in. But the Buccaneers are 14-point favorites, and the Saints, without Derek Carr or any of their starters, might be the worst football team to ever exist. So we're done. We're eliminated. Had to win last night. And yeah, Hunter said in the chat, Penix did look good. There was worse outcomes in that game. And I thought we were on our way to that outcome when Penix threw the interception in the Falcons' first drive. But at the end of the day, I do think Penix looked good. It was clear that he doesn't have the chemistry that with the first team that you need. He also didn't have some of his timing down, which is going to come with chemistry. It's going to come with first team reps. It's going to come with in-game reps. All his issues last night look to be the product of just not getting very many in-game reps and getting tossed into the mix as a starter in week 16. So I can forgive that. Things where I thought he looked very good. Is extremely comfortable in the pocket, extremely patient in the pocket, extremely comfortable. He wasn't panicky in the pocket, which you see quite a bit with rookie quarterbacks. He was patient. He was calm. He went through his reads. He was clutch. That huge throw to Kyle Pitts at the end of the game for the game-tying touchdown. He had some big throws and some big moments. Listen, I'm upset right now, but within the next couple of days, I'm going to turn around on this because there are so many teams in the NFL that are in worse situations right now than the Falcons. We're not going to make the playoffs. It's a failure of a season, but at least heading into next year, we got a chance to make the playoffs next year. We got a great offense. We have weapons. It looks like we have maybe our quarterback of the future. We need some things done on defense. In terms of coaching, everyone's blaming Raheem Morris, and rightfully so, especially at the end of the game. I mean, not calling a timeout is insane. I think he was probably the only person in the world watching that game not screaming timeout. I was screaming timeout at my TV. I was trying to call a timeout for the team. Unfortunately, it didn't work. I don't know why he didn't call a timeout there after the game. They asked him why. He said, yeah, I don't know. I thought we were going to get the playoff quicker. In hindsight, I should have called the timeout. Yeah, you think Raheem? People are calling for him to be fired. I don't think necessarily he should be fired for that. His first season as a head coach, you can't just completely clean house of an organization because a guy didn't call a timeout when he should have. I really do think we got to get rid of Jimmy Lake. He's not a good defense coordinator. That's a big fix. I found out that Raheem Morris kind of took over the defense after the bye week, which is why our defense got better. So that's promising moving forward if maybe we can get a different defensive coordinator. But we got hope heading into next season. It's just I'm just kind of sick of hope. And I'm just sick of every team that I cheer for in big moments, in big games, they lose in overtime. It's constant. It's the Maple Leafs. It's the Falcons. We lost in overtime in the Super Bowl. The Maple Leafs lose in overtime in Game 7 every single year in the first round of the playoffs. We lose in overtime in a winning get-in situation here this week. And start overtime, we lost the coin toss. You know what team doesn't lose coin tosses? The Chiefs, ever. The Falcons always lose the coin toss heading into overtime. We lost the coin toss in the Super Bowl too, and then didn't touch the ball offensively. So
tails never fails.
At the end of the day, it's just more of the same shit, to be honest. Sorry, what's that?
I said tails never fails, but eventually Falcons will understand that.
Yeah.
No, I want to give a huge shout out to the Commanders. The Commanders were outstanding. I mean, they played such great football. You and I'll give both of us credit here. You and I were pounding the table for Jaden Daniels. I said Jaden Daniels, that is QB1, not Caleb Williams. Draft Jaden Daniels. And you saw why in this game. Dude was clutch. He was electric through the air, on the ground. He was making plays. He was putting the team on his back. That final drive, he was so calm. So calm. They go, all right, we're just going to put the ball in Jaden's hands. If we want to run a run play, we're going to run it with the quarterback, not with a running back. That final throw of the game to Zach Ertz, what a play by Zach Ertz. I mean, my goodness. I think Jaden Daniels was so incredibly impressive, and that should not go overlooked in this one.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels looked unbelievable. The amount of the different ways he can beat you. He can beat you with his legs. He can beat you with what was more impressive that I saw from him last night were just those quick, like slant, quick throw plays that are difficult for a rookie to do. Just have confidence in your play, confidence in your receiver. I knew he was going to torch us with his legs. The Falcons have never done a good job of defending mobile quarterbacks. I think Jaden Daniels rushed for over 100 yards last night. Every time it seemed like we did something, he just got out of the backfield and then ran for the first down. That's Patrick Mahomes-esque in that sense, where it's just like every third down, it's like if no one's open, he's just going to run for it himself. And it's so frustrating to try to cheer when you're cheering for the other team and you think you haven't stopped, and then just tackle him. And then he just gets across the first down marker. So yeah, Jaden Daniels is going to be a really good quarterback for a long time to come because he can just beat you so many different ways. So listen, Commanders deserve that win last night. They're going to be a scary team for anyone in the NFC to face. And the Falcons we're on to 2025. We'll try again next year. Like I said, there's hope for next year, but it's just, I just want it. Like, this team wasn't going to win the Super Bowl. Penix is too fresh, too green to be able to carry us to a Super Bowl right now. We got too many issues on defense, but I just wanted to see a playoff game. Like, it's been so long. I just want a playoff game.
Well,
I guess last night was kind of a playoff game.
Luckily, you did double or nothing with me, so you're not completely out of buying me something yet, right? Falcons had to win a playoff game, and the Chiefs have to win a playoff game. And the Chiefs with the 1 seed, you're saying that the bye doesn't count, because I think the bye counts. They're already into the second round of the playoffs, but that's fine. So once they win that playoff game, Iain, that's double or nothing. What do I receive?
Well, we can figure that out.
A New York apartment? I don't know. Are you okay, Iain? What is going on with Iain? I think Ian's...
The audio through my headphones was getting really messed up, so I had to switch things around. I can hear you better now, Sterling. It was coming through repeated. It was coming through delayed. It was all over the place.
I was so befuddled. I was like, is Iain... Does he smell toast?
We're all right now. Yeah, about that double or nothing bet, I'm worried now because, and we can talk about this. We can move on from the Falcons. Well, the Chiefs clinched the number 1 seed, which is one thing. My issue is now that the team they're going to face is going to be one of probably the 2 worst teams in the playoffs. Like the 2 worst teams in the entire playoffs right now, I think, AFC or NFC, are the Steelers and Texans, which will most likely be the 4 and 5 seed.
Yeah, Trevor goes, I thought Iain was about to walk off the pod. I did too. I was like, I didn't say anything bad. I mean, I was ripping on him pre-show. I was giving him a hard time, but I didn't say anything that bad.
Yeah, no, my headphone audio has been bad. Something's going on with it. I got to fix it because it happens every week now. Actually, the Chargers can still get the 5 seed. I need the Chargers to get the 5 seed. Because if the only 2 teams that can't beat the Chiefs in the playoffs are the Texans, Steelers. And if those 2 teams play and then the Bills and Ravens probably win their games, then it's going to be the Chiefs against the Texans or Steelers, and then they're not beating them. So then I'm going to lose that double or nothing bet. And I'm going to look like an idiot because I guaranteed one and done all over the place. But if the Chargers can get that 5 seed, which I think if the Chargers beat the Raiders and the Bengals beat the Steelers, the Chargers are now the 5 seed. You should be scared about the Chargers.
I'm not. I mean, the only reason why the Chargers is because you would have faced them 3 times in 1 year. So I will grant you that. I think
You're not worried about the fact that you needed it was the Doinkinen, right? Of all the different ways the Chiefs won, I believe Doinkinen was the Chargers game, and the Chargers didn't even have Lad McConkey.
Have you seen the Chiefs play the last 3 weeks?
Yeah, they've unfortunately. I mean,
they didn't care the first 13.
The best football of the season the past 3 weeks, which is just so goddamn frustrating.
Yeah, they were
I
playing.
hate why does everything go right for you guys and nothing goes right for my teams? If that was the Chiefs last night, they would have won the coin toss and the other team would have not touched the ball.
Because you have so much anger in your heart. So much anger. That's why, Ian.
Are you scared of the Bengals if the Bengals make the playoffs?
That is the most laughable, hilarious, absurd, asinine take of all time. They not only would be the 7 seed and have to then beat either the Ravens, no, they'd have to be the Bills in Buffalo.
Which they've done in the playoffs before.
That would be best case scenario for Kansas City. Are you kidding me? You're telling me they don't have to face the Bills, who are actually good, and they would play the 9-8 Bengals, who have one of the worst defenses I've ever seen with my own 2 eyes? That would be a blessing. No team, no player has gotten more run off of one victory in overtime 3 years ago when Patrick had the worst half of his entire career than Joe Burrow and the Bengals. I don't get it. People are like, well, the Bengals play the Chiefs close. No shit. Everyone plays the Chiefs close. It's what the Chiefs do. To me, it's just such an absurd argument that a lot of times the national media is trying to push because that's the only quarterback and the only team right now who's actually playing, not named Tom Brady, right? An actual current player who has beaten Patrick in the playoffs. That's all they have.
Yeah, but yes, but every Bengals Chiefs game is close. Even this year in the regular season, that game was decided by pass interference.
What did I just say? Because the Chiefs play every team close. This is not new. They played the Panthers close. I don't hear people clamoring that the Panthers should be scared.
I don't know. I think Chiefs fans have gotten a little overconfident after a few good games. Their first good games that they played all season, mind you. I mean, they're surrounded by teams. The Bills smoked them when the Bills played them. If Isaiah Likely would have cut his toenails before that game, the Ravens would have beat them. If the Bengals make the playoffs, they were only beat by a bad pass interference call. Like the Chiefs in the playoffs right now are surrounded by teams. The Chargers, I needed the doinking in without Lad McConkey to beat them.
And if the Falcons didn't suck, they'd be good.
Don't bring up the Falcons. The Falcons are done. The Falcons are done. The Falcons don't matter. The Falcons are done. Falcons are done. Their season's over. Don't bring up the Falcons.
And if the Bengals defense wasn't 2 scoops of ass, they would win more games than trying to have things go their way to sneak into the playoffs. Like, I don't get this. This is the ifs and buts and candy and nuts. It's just absurd.
Don't nursery rhyme me.
I will nursery rhyme your ass, okay? Humpty Dumpty, we're not doing this.
I just want the Chiefs to lose. I want them to lose so bad.
Don't fall off a wall.
This Falcons loss will be worth it if the Chiefs don't make the Super Bowl. I can't watch another Chiefs Super Bowl. I can't do it. I don't have it in me.
Not 1, not 2, 3 in a row? Wow.
What team are you most afraid of to face in the let's start with both matchups. The Chiefs are the number 1 seed. They could face anyone except for the Bills or Ravens technically in the second round. Who are you most afraid to see in the Chiefs' first game? Of the other playoff teams?
I don't think there's anyone. I really don't.
Yeah, but, okay, the one that it has to be that you can't
Chargers. I guess Chargers, right? That'd be the only logical explanation because the Chargers you would face 3 times.
Oh, I forgot about the Broncos. Needed the block field goal to beat the Broncos too, so that's another one.
Yeah, great. Who won that game?
Chiefs did.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Who's the 1 seed?
The Kansas City Chiefs are.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Yeah. I'd say Chargers for the simple fact that you would have faced him 3 times. I think Justin Herbert's a really good quarterback. Harbaugh can coach. J.K. Dobbins is back. That's huge for them. You know my thoughts of Lad McConkey. Huge fan of Lad. They're a very well-coached team. They don't typically make dumb mistakes, right? A lot of teams freak out when they play Kansas City. I don't think the Chargers would, at least third time around. So first round, the Chargers would be, I guess, the team that I'd say most scared of. But overall, I think the only real team is Buffalo. I think Buffalo's really good. I do. Like, I have so much respect for Buffalo, for Josh Allen. I don't know really my thoughts on Sean McDermott. Like, I don't know if he's a good head coach or not. He said some really weird things. He's a weird guy. I don't know if he's a good head coach, though, right? Like, I don't think Zach Taylor's a good head coach for the Bengals. I don't.
Right.
I don't think he's horrible. I don't think he's just like this boob, but I don't think Zach Taylor's a good head coach. What?
Not you calling someone a boob.
Well, he's just not a good head coach. Sean McDermott, I don't know. Like, if you're power ranking coaches in the AFC, which I think plays a big factor, as we've seen down the stretch, calling or not calling timeouts, that's one example. Like, I don't know if I trust Sean McDermott. That's the only reason why I think the Bills don't. But also, this year, the Bills were supposed to take a step back, and look what they've done. It's been the best Bills team, I think, in recent memory, even of the past couple of years, with the Bills, again, supposedly taking a step back.
I mean, Matthew does say the Bills' defense has had some hiccups, the past few weeks. I think the Ravens are the best team in the AFC right now, but I got issues with Lamar Jackson performing in big moments in the playoffs, though. But I think the Ravens' defense has taken huge leaps forward in the second half of the season. I think they're the most talented team. They have the most weapons offensively. Obviously, a very good coach. But Lamar Jackson has shown some nerves in big spots in the postseason before, which I know you're not going to get that from Josh Allen.
I mean, that's what it comes down to. I think Lamar is like one of, if not the best, regular season quarterback in the NFL. But
maybe this is his year that he proves that he is a playoff quarterback.
Well, and again, I do at times think it can be overblown, right? Like, Andy Reid was known as this just horrible playoff head coach until you win one.
Right.
Once Lamar wins one, it completely goes away, right? It took Aaron Rodgers, he won one, and then it took him 15 years before the playoff nerves finally caught back up to him, where it came back to, well, maybe Rodgers just isn't good in the playoffs. But he had like a decade worth of grace.
Right.
So if Lamar wins one, that's completely thrown away. Again, Andy had the same thing to go through.
If Lamar wins one, is he the best quarterback in the NFL?
No. It's still Patrick.
How many MVPs? Does Patrick Mahomes have 2 MVPs or is it just 1?
2.
He does have 2. So I guess, Lamar might win a third. The odds have closed in.
Which is fine. Didn't Rodgers win more MVPs than Brady?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Brady won 7 Super Bowls?
Yes.
Yeah. Mahomes not there quite yet.
I like how you said quite yet. You're correct. Not
there
quite yet.
That is the only actually good thing if the Chiefs win another Super Bowl, is that but I'm starting to hate Chiefs fans more than Patriots fans. But I don't hate Mahomes like I hated Brady. So Mahomes surpassing Brady as the GOAT is fine by me.
Mark that. I want that to be like an intro. I love that. You're giving Chiefs some credit. Love it.
Oh, that's fine by me. I'll always admit that I hate Tom Brady. Tom Brady's my biggest enemy in the sports world. I hate Tom Brady. My first football game I ever watched was Tom Brady's first Super Bowl win against my dad's Rams team. So and then he 28-3 against me. Rams the second time. The MacMillans are 0-3 against Tom Brady in Super Bowls. 0-0 against Patrick Mahomes so far in Super Bowls. Have you taken a look at the Week 18 schedule, which I thought wasn't going to get released until tomorrow, but I guess they released it last night since the Lions-49ers game has no impact on the final week. So Week 18 schedule has been released. Do you have any initial thoughts on it, if you have looked at it?
Yeah, I looked at it last night. Not a ton. I mean, there's only a couple games that really matter.
It's not a good Week 18 slate. Week 18 sometimes can have some good games, some bad games, but some meaningful games. There's very few meaningful games this week.
I like them having the Bengals-Steelers on Saturday.
Yes, I think they got that right.
They got that right. It's a primetime game. It matters. I'm surprised they put the Chiefs at 3:25.
4:25 Eastern, yeah.
Sorry, I just go Central.
Well, it's in Denver.
such a weird, because there's no real implications. Like, you either wanted that game last or like at noon, because it's going to be a bad game. There's no starters playing for Kansas City. And then it could be because Miami is the only other team that has, they're playing at 325 also, I guess, right? Because they have implications as well. Yeah, you know what? I guess they got it right. Because in the AFC, you wanted those two teams to play at the same time, right? The only other thing was that you would want the Dolphins to play, or the Chiefs to play later, so that way no one knows what happens, right? Because you want to make sure the Dolphins are playing their people, and you want to make sure that the Bengals are playing their people, right? Because if the Chiefs were to lose, then those games become irrelevant, right?
Right.
So, I guess grand scheme of things, they got it right.
It does stink for the Bengals if they win Saturday night. They need not only the Broncos to lose to the backups in Kansas City, but they also need the Jets to beat the Dolphins. That's just a lot to ask.
Yeah, that's.
I guess it depends on it. Really, Week 18 is all about who's going to play and who's not going to play. I have to lock in all my bets for this week tonight, and it's going to stink because I don't know who's going to play for what team. Do we know if Mahomes is playing yet?
No, he's not.
He's definitely not. He's not even taking.
I mean, definitely is a strong word, but
they have announced like he's officially not playing.
It's going to be Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
Like, I would be beyond shocked if Mahomes took any snaps in that game.
And then, Dolphins are important too. Is Tua healthy enough to play? I mean, Bengals are definitely got to hope that Tua doesn't play, because if he doesn't play, the Jets will probably beat the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Is Aaron Rodgers playing, though? He benched himself. I don't know if you saw that. Rodgers benched himself.
Honestly, if he plays, Dolphins have a better chance.
Yeah. Tough. Other than that, the NFC South, like I said earlier, technically still needs to be decided. Both those games are at 1 p.m. Eastern. The Saints are the Saints. Derek Carr has never said that he's out for the rest of the season. I think this is so disgusting for me to say as a Falcons fan. I'm like praying that the Saints win, which is number one, disgusting. Number two, the most important storyline for me this week is if Derek Carr somehow just comes back from the dead. He has no reason to play. The Saints are going to move on from this offseason, but he hasn't said he's out for the year. He said he's going to try to come back. If he comes back, the Saints have a fighting chance.
Agreed.
Right now the Bucs are 14-point favorites.
Spencer Rattler is brutal, man.
Oh, he's terrible. But also, he has no who's their best weapon? I don't even know.
No, it's not a good situation.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that he's surrounded by elite talent by any means, but dude, there are some plays that you scratch your head. That arm strength is what happened.
Can I say one other thing about last night? Why is every single person in the world last night, except for Falcons fans, were like hardcore cheering for the Commanders? Can you explain why that is? Nobody wanted the Falcons to win last night. Why?
The Commanders are fun. The Falcons aren't fun. Sorry.
Yes, they are. The Falcons are fun with Penix in there. We're fun. Bijan Robinson.
Jaden Daniels is one of the most electric quarterbacks in the NFL. Damn.
All right, what else do we got for Week 18? The obvious choice for Sunday Night Football is the Vikings-Lions, which is crazy that in the final week of the season, the winner of that game wins their division and is the number 1 seed. The loser of that game at 14-3 it could technically be
the 5.
Could be 13-4 if the Lions lose tonight. But let's say the Lions win tonight. The loser of that game will be 14-3 and be the 5 seed. Which is this is not a playoff game because they're not eliminated, but the win, like the Super Bowl win probability between being the 1 seed, having a bye, having home field advantage, and the 5 seed where you have to play an extra game and most likely all 3 of them are going to be on the road. That's huge.
Yeah, this is one of those. And it's why you don't change the rule, because this is so quirky and unlikely. But I hate that like we talked about it when the Seahawks went 7-9, right? And they hosted a playoff game. We talked about it when was it the NFC South last year Went 8
Yeah,
and 9?
I know 9-8 last year. I think
9-8, okay.
Still not good. Yeah.
But we talked about it, and you're like, this team won 12 games, and they're on the road. They're a 5. 14's even crazier, right?
That's crazy.
That deserves something. A reseed. I get not the first round. You're not going to have a bye, and you have to play that first game on the road. I get that aspect of it, but the second game reseed afterwards, like based on record. It's too rare, I think, for it to happen consistently, but yeah, I feel for whoever, Detroit or Minnesota, whoever loses that game, that blows.
Yeah, that's a huge game in Sunday Night Football. The NFC as a whole, the top part of the NFC is so good this year because the 7 seed might have 11 wins. If the Commanders beat the Cowboys, the 7 seed will have 11 wins, which is crazy.
Yeah.
No, wait, they already have 11 wins.
Their 11th win was last night.
Yeah, the 7 seed might have 12 wins in the NFC. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Well, because the NFC is so split in two.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's not really a middle. The Falcons are the middle.
Yeah. I mean, 9-8 probably not going to get you in the playoffs regardless, but they, like, if the Falcons won last night, then the Buccaneers had a chance of winning 10 games and not even being close to the playoffs.
Hunter says Eagles are dangerous. D is very good. O is experienced. Yeah, I love the Eagles. Question is, Jalen has to get healthy, right? Jalen Hurts has to get healthy. Their defense has been much improved since Cooper DeJean has gone into the slot. We've talked about that starting, 9 weeks ago. And their defense and their secondary just took off. Huge fan of that Eagles team. I think they've been the most underrated Super Bowl contender. Like we've talked about Detroit and Green Bay, the Chiefs obviously, and Buffalo. The Bengals have gotten more Super Bowl love than the Eagles have, it feels like. I don't understand it.
I don't know if that's true the past couple of weeks. I feel like for the majority of the middle part of the season that was true. I think people the past couple of weeks have caught on to the Eagles a little bit. Do we know Jalen Hurts? If Jalen Hurts, they're not winning anything in the playoffs with Kenny Pickett.
Correct.
So is Jalen Hurts coming back? Because concussions are a weird thing. Because concussions can, people just assume it's going to be like a quick fix, but sometimes concussions get dragged on.
Yeah, I mean, we saw I know it's different because Tua's had so many, but how many games did Tua miss? We've seen players miss 4 games, 5 games with a concussion.
Yeah.
So
or a year.
Yeah. So
you never really know. It's not
so
you can't just take a scan and be like, okay, this concussion is going to be 4 weeks. It's like a day-by-day thing.
Yeah.
So if I was this Eagles fan, I'd be nervous right now.
By the way, how about the Giants? Drew Lock, 4 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, over 300 yards passing.
And now they don't have the number 1 pick.
That was awesome.
You must love that as a Mizzou guy.
Oh, it was awesome. Got my dad a signed Drew Lock helmet actually for Christmas. It was a Mizzou. It was a game that we went to, bowl game a long time ago. And it's a replica of the exact game, the white old school helmets that Mizzou rocked for that game. And Drew Lock signed it. So I got it for my dad for Christmas. And I go, look at that. I get you that helmet. And what happens? Drew Lock goes off.
Yeah.
It was meant to be. Giants, sign him. Long-term extension right now.
That game probably locked him up a spot as a backup quarterback in the NFL for the rest of his career.
Yes.
Which, there's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, that's what Mizzou quarterbacks do. Blaine Gabbert, backup quarterback. Chase Daniel, Mizzou, backup quarterback.
Nice way to make a living.
Drew Lock, Missouri. If you want to become a backup quarterback in the NFL, you go to Missouri.
Yep. So AFC Wild Card clinching scenarios really quick. I think everyone knows at this point. Broncos win, they get in. Broncos lose, Dolphins win, Dolphins get in. Broncos lose, Dolphins lose. Bengals win, Bengals get in. All 3 teams lose, Broncos get in. Pretty straightforward heading into the final week. Falcons, that's the only NFC South is the only playoff spot left available in the NFC. Buccaneers win or tie. No. If they tie, do they get in? I don't know. If the Buccaneers win, they get in. If they lose, the Falcons win. They get in. Both teams lose. Buccaneers get in. Pretty straightforward in terms of playoff scenarios.
Who did the Falcons play? The Panthers?
Panthers, yeah.
Oh.
I mean, we could just lose that game, too. It's not out of the realm of possibility.
I don't get the Panthers. Sometimes they're super frisky, and sometimes they're just atrocious. I like there was at one point there was like a turning point in their season, and then it was like, nah, we're just kidding. We're back to being the Panthers.
Well, their defense is terrible. Their defense has always been bad. Bryce Young has had and even, I mean, Bryce Young, I thought, played decently well against the Buccaneers, but I mean, the Buccaneers scored a touchdown every time they had the ball, so
True.
tough to win. All right, quickly, Monday Night Football tonight. It's a meaningless game at this point. I think the Lions are going to play their starters at least a bit, but like it's meaningless because win or lose, it doesn't matter for the Lions, and the 49ers are already out. So,
Yeah,
do you have any thoughts on this game?
I put money on a Garindo and Jahmyr Gibbs 60-plus yards apiece and a touchdown apiece. So that's what I'm rooting for.
Yeah, I mean, preseason, I mean, the schedule makers were cooking with this matchup, but unfortunately it's worked out where, like, it means nothing. Like, they made this matchup thinking this was going to be the game for the number one seed, and it's not. Not only the 49ers out, the Lions have a shot at the number one seed, but this game means nothing. It's only about next week.
The poor schedule makers.
Yeah.
I actually feel for them.
This looked like it was going to be great.
You're going with the Niners, aren't you, knowing you?
No, I took the over. I have a lot of issues with the Lions' defensive injuries that I think are going to catch up to them. I tried to bet against them last week, but then their offense just still scored every time they touched the ball. So I'm just going to fade the Lions' defense while also betting on the Lions' offense, and I'll just take the over.
Makes sense.
All right, let's rip through Week 18. I got the key games here with some betting lines. I think some of them we can actually cross out now because of after last night's results. Chiefs Broncos. You said, I mean, Broncos are 9-point favorites. I think that tells the story of the game.
I would rip the Chiefs.
No, I'm definitely taking the Chiefs. 9 points.
9 points. Are you serious?
Let me make sure it's still sitting at that right now because I wrote these in last night.
Yeah, if you said that right now, I am taking that 9.
How about 9? How about 9.5?
Oh
That's what it is now,
dude.
Yeah,
I know the Chiefs won't be playing anyone. I get that, like anyone. Chris Jones, Travis Kelce. It's Andy Reid still. Actually, it might not be. Knowing the Chiefs will let Matt Nagy actually take over.
Maybe take the Broncos if Matt Nagy's taking over.
You mean Coach of the Year, Matt Nagy?
Yeah. Fact.
I'm sorry. I'm busy doing this. I'm doing something here.
So Mahomes, based on that line, not going to play. And I think I read somewhere the Chiefs' third string quarterback might be getting some time too. Who's that guy?
Oh, it might be Chris Oladokin.
Yes, correct.
Is that who it was?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, he's been around in the practice squad. The Chiefs don't carry 3 quarterbacks, so he's been on the Chiefs practice squad the entire season. He doesn't do anything.
I read somewhere he's going to get some reps too. So we might get like a first half Carson Wentz, second half Oladokin.
I think you'd get a lot. Yeah, I think it's Chris Oladokin. Yeah.
Did I pronounce that right? Oladokin?
I think you'll get a lot more Carson Wentz. Because just in case, Carson hasn't played like at all this year.
Yeah, the Chiefs haven't some reps, right? Yeah.
You got to get him some reps because we've seen Chad Henne have to play in a playoff game before, and he was seasoned. Right. Sure. Carson Wentz obviously has played a lot in the NFL, but it's been a little bit.
Yeah. Let's actually quickly go through the Saturday games here. Ravens, they still need to win. The AFC North is not locked up, which is not something we mentioned earlier. The Ravens have to win or the Steelers lose for the Ravens to win the AFC North. If the Ravens lose and the Steelers win, then the Steelers get the AFC North in a home playoff game. But with that being said, because this is a meaningful game for the Ravens, they're at home to the Dorian Thompson-Robinson-led Browns. And, the line just shifted up another half point. The Ravens are 18-point favorites.
Seems low.
I'll probably take, I don't know, 18's tough. That's so many points. That's by far, that's the biggest spread of the season. The other one was, who was it against the Giants? Ravens against the Giants, 17 points, and they covered. So
the Ravens blow out bad teams. This is what they do. You're telling me, with a chance to try and get Lamar the MVP, they're not going to run the score. He's not going to have 6 touchdowns. You're telling me Lamar, they're going to be up 35 points in the fourth quarter. Lamar is still in there.
You think so?
With a running touchdown. This is going to be for the third MVP. This is what the Ravens do.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. I'll lay the points. And I'm worried they get up 3 touchdowns and then rest their starters. And then the Browns score like a touchdown.
They haven't done that all year. Like, that's what the Ravens do.
Yeah, but this is week 18.
Sure. Maybe it's different.
Yeah, so Ravens are 18-point favorites. So the Steelers, unfortunately, not looking. They need one of the biggest upsets in NFL history for them to win the AFC North. And
Which,
then
by the way, I think the Steelers win that game. I think the Steelers beat the Bengals.
Yeah, so Steelers, Bengals, because even if the Ravens win earlier, the AFC North will be out of the hands of the Steelers, but they are still playing for a seed because they need to lock up the number 5 seed if they want to go to Houston. Because if they lose and the Chargers beat the Raiders on Sunday, then the Steelers would drop down to the 6, which would then be a rematch with Baltimore, which I'm sure they would much rather play Houston than Baltimore.
That's a huge difference. There is a lot to play for in that one. So
Houston might be the worst playoff team in the NFL right now.
Which is a bummer because they were so fun to watch last year and parts of this season. Their offensive line is just, again, I always tell people, they don't realize, I don't want to just cast a net over everyone, but I think a lot of fans don't understand the importance of the offensive line because of fantasy football. You see Nico Collins, you see CJ Stroud, you see Joe Mixon, right? You see some of these big name players and you think, oh, well, they have to be really good. The offensive line, the trenches are so damn important. The Houston offensive line might be the worst in football, right? And that's why I think they're having all of these issues. Again, Tank Dell's injury was horrific. That's been a big loss as well. They came out very flat last game. After that, it seemed almost very emotional, right? Which I feel for Tank. But, they are limping into the playoffs right now.
Who's a better team, the Texans or the Falcons right now?
Texans.
I say just sub the Falcons in for the Texans as the AFC South winner.
They both have South in their division.
Yep.
So
makes sense.
I think the Texans are better than the Falcons, though. I'm sorry.
So the two teams played on a neutral field right now. You'd favor the Texans?
I'd favor the Texans.
Damn. All right. Steelers 3-point home underdogs to the Bengals Saturday. Meaningful game for both teams. So that might be actually outside of the Sunday night game. That might be the game of the week because both teams have something to play for. Even if the AFC North is out of the Steelers' hands, kind of a little surprised the Bengals are a field goal favorite there.
Yeah, I'm taking the Steelers to win. Don't get it.
All right, Sunday's games. What ones do we have here? Commanders and Cowboys. I think Commanders are still fighting for a seed, I believe. I think they can surpass. Yeah, they definitely can because they both have 11 seeds. So the Packers and Commanders actually still have something to play for. I mean, it's not their playoff lives, but they're both 11-5 right now. So if one wins and the other loses, I don't know which team has the tiebreaker between the two. But if one wins and the other loses, the winner will be the 6th seed, which will be taken on the Rams or the Buccaneers, depending on how that pans out. And the loser will be going to Philadelphia, which will be a much more difficult game.
Yeah, that's that one's more difficult.
I believe the Packers have the tiebreaker. So I think the Commanders need to beat the Cowboys and hope somehow the Bears beat the Packers.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be interesting because I don't want to play Philly right now. I don't think any team does. But the Buccaneers and the Rams are also interesting as in those two teams are like the Spider-Man meme pointing at each other where when they're on, they're liable to put up 45 points, 40 points, right? Like their offenses are just outstanding. But when they're off, they struggle to score 13. I feel like there's not a big in-between. They're very Jekyll and Hyde. What are you going to get in the playoffs? And both two teams and quarterbacks, a little bit at least, are playoff tested, right? They've been there before, especially the Rams, but Baker's played in some playoff games.
I think the Rams' biggest strength is their playoff experience. I do think the Rams are the worst playoff team in the NFC right now, though.
Yes.
I would take the Buccaneers over the Rams. The Buccaneers got defensive issues, but their offense is so good.
I would agree.
It's crazy the Falcons are 2-0 against the Bucs. Means nothing. Dolphins and Jets. Tua's status is up in the air. Have we heard anything about Tua's status here? Jets 2.5-point home underdogs. I think that would indicate that Tua's not playing. I think the Dolphins would be bigger favorites if Tua was. No official report yet.
Oh, I think this means...
You think this means Tua's playing?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I would assume the Dolphins would be bigger favorites, but maybe I'm wrong. If that's the case, I love the Dolphins at -2.5.
Yeah,
The Jets have nothing. The Jets have nothing to offer.
I know that.
Aaron Rodgers has benched himself.
I know that, but the betting market, it feels like, loves the Jets.
That is true. That is true. The betting market has loved the Jets all season for some reason.
It's like you and the Titans.
The Titans, by the way, fun story. The Titans have clinched the worst spread team in the NFL in NFL history.
And
I bet on them. They're 2-14 against the spread this season, which is crazy. 2-14 straight up is one thing. 2-14 against the spread is quite literally unheard of. It's the record for the worst spread record ever. And I out of those 16 games, I think I bet on them 13 or 14 times. It's impressive to lose that many. They say good teams win, great teams cover. What are you called if you lose and don't cover that often? Like, might be the worst team of all time.
They're brutal, man.
And I will be betting on them again in week 18.
I told everyone about Will Levis, and no one wanted to listen.
Yeah.
I said when he was coming out of college, I saw him in person. I did not understand it.
Titans are 4-point favorites to the Texans. I don't know if I can do that. I'm assuming the Texans are going to rest some guys based on that line because the Texans can't do anything. They're locked in as the number 4.
Yeah.
Even with that being, I mean, the Titans 4-point favorites against Georgia right now would be a stretch. All right. I think that's pretty much it. The Lions Vikings next week. Lions are 2.5-point home favorites. That is obviously the game of the week. That is the big one. No, I'm not going to say that. I was going to say there's a case to be made. It's the two best teams in the NFL. I can't quite get there, but could be the two best teams in the NFC. People keep doubting the Vikings, and all they do is keep winning.
Yeah, I'm in that boat, and they have proved everyone and myself wrong. They are so well coached. I think that's the biggest example of what a great coach can do for you.
Is Kevin O'Connell coach of the year?
Yes.
Yeah, it has to be, right?
By the way, I think Andy Reid should get a good amount of consideration. They went 15-1. I know they won back-to-back Super Bowls, but with the amount of injuries, 15-1, all of this talk. If you're going to say Mahomes has been brutal this year, which early on this year he had been, then that obviously means that the coach has been elevating, right? That would be the correlation. It's how last year I said either Brock Purdy's the MVP or Shanahan's coach of the year, right? My thoughts were Shanahan was coach of the year. That was where I landed on that entire conversation. But again, that's kind of how I break it down when you are the one seed or you are one of, if not the best team in the NFL. But I think this year it's Kevin O'Connell. Their win-loss total was what, 6.5 heading into this season?
6.5. They've, I believe, and I'm trying to verify that. I saw a tweet earlier. I think they set the record for the most wins above what their win total was preseason.
Kevin O'Connell, in my opinion, is the clear-cut coach of the year. This is one of the best coaching displays I have ever seen.
Yeah. And they're going to be dangerous in the playoffs. So, so Lions are at home. I mean, they're limping into this game too. We'll see who plays for them tonight against the 49ers. But next Sunday night, 2.5-point home favorites to the Vikings. That means odds makers still think the Lions are a slightly better team. Neutral field, they'd probably be like a 1-point, half-point favorite. So pretty much a coin flip between those two teams next Sunday night. But I don't think it would be if the Lions were healthier. The Lions are...
Oh, yes.
Lions are banged up.
And that's football, though. It's all about depth. All about depth.
You can just tell the total of their game is 52.5 next Sunday night. That just tells me that like the Lions just are going to have to win shootouts the rest of the way. We do got to make picks really quick, and then we'll get out of here. Last week, I went 2-1. Ravens, Texans under 47.5. That was easy to win considering the Texans scored 2 points. The Commanders did cover -5 against the Falcons because they scored a touchdown in overtime. So, hey, Falcons might have been eliminated from the playoffs, but I won my bet. Did not hit my upset. People need to study my inability to hit an upset winner this season. I haven't hit an upset winner since week 3. Even if I take a +105 dog in the Packers, can't get it done. Sterling, you went, you pushed on the Seahawks, you lost on the Cardinals, and you did hit the Falcons Commanders over. So 1-1-1.
Yep.
All right. Spread pick for this week. Sterling, I have not made my picks yet, so I got to make them. So go tell me your spread pick.
I'm going Chiefs plus 9.5. That just seems absurd to me.
Okay, I will go. I'll go Patriots plus 3. The Bills have nothing to play for, so I don't know why the Patriots are 3-point underdogs. I'll go Patriots plus 3. Upset of the week. I'm assuming you're going to go Steelers based on what you said earlier.
Correct. I'm going Steelers.
My upset of the week is going to be the Vikings. I think the Vikings actually beat the Lions on Sunday Night Football. Okay. I can't get over the defensive injuries that the Lions have. They got to win every game in a shootout. I think the Vikings might win and clinch the number 1 seed. So I'll go Vikings upset and then a total bet.
Total bet. I'm going under 41 Chargers and Raiders. Chargers defense has not been the same as it was earlier on in the season, but I still think they're very good. Raiders, I think, are very, very bad. Pretty simple analysis there.
I'll go Panthers Falcons over 47.5 because the Falcons probably, they still got to play their best because the Buccaneers game's going to be going on at the same time, but also they're going to want to get Penix to get some reps. And based on what I've seen through his first couple of weeks, I think he can kind of torch this bad Panthers defense. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, the way Bryce Young has been playing, they're going to be able to score on the Falcons defense because we can't stop mobile quarterbacks. Never have been able to, never will be able to. Bryce Young will probably rush for 100 yards against us. So I'll go over 47.5 Panthers Falcons. All right, there you go. That is the show. We will not be here Wednesday because it's New Year's Day. So we'll be back next week to recap Week 18 and also, I guess, get you set up for Wild Card weekend. Pretty crazy. We'll be talking playoffs starting next week. But Monday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, we'll be talking Wild Card playoffs. And we'll be back to a normal schedule then too. So I guess probably we'll be talking Wild Card playoffs more on Wednesday. So maybe we'll just do a season recap Monday morning.
Ooh, love it.
I love a good season recap. All right. Thank you all so much for watching, listening, and subscribe to Stacking the Box on YouTube. Sterling, final thought, final words.
Yeah, I'm sorry about your Falcons. Honestly, I am. It's just heartbreaking.
It doesn't sound sincere at all.
What? Ian, I feel for you. Happy New Year. If you're going to drink, don't drive. Have fun. Celebrate, but be safe, be careful. That's how you know I'm getting older, is that's my takeaway now. But seriously, call an Uber. Whatever you do, it's not worth it. Spend the $10, $15 versus potentially ruining you or someone else's life. So if you do drink, don't drive, but have a happy New Year. Have fun, party, do what you want to do. And resolution. I'll give my resolution right now. I'm going to eat more. I'm going to work out less. I'm going to pick up a new habit, maybe smoking or something bad. I figured maybe a bad habit, and hopefully get my golf handicap down back to a single digit.
All right. I like it. I don't have a New Year's resolution. I'll come up with one by next week, maybe. All right. Happy New Year, everyone. Be safe. And we are on to 2025. Goodbye.